Okay.
Okay, well, thanks for joining us this afternoon. As you will remember from the State 4-H Initiative Team meeting last fall, there was some discussion about putting the content that is the new leader orientation online so that people have a choice. They either can attend and participate in a group face-to-face meeting in the county for new leader orientation, or they could go online and do those things at when it's convenient to them to do that with the same information, the same content. So that's what we have been working on. And I want to thank the Volunteer Development Issue Team members, those who have been working on that. We have been able to get everything together here. Now, this is what you're seeing on the screen is, of course, the State 4-H website. I want to walk you through step by step as to where that information is at. So underneath quick links, you'll see the new leader orientation. When you click on that, it'll open it up to another page that contains all the information. The opening paragraph there just talks about how to be approved as a 4-H volunteer leader, that you must complete the new leader orientation, and then you'll get an e-invite to submit your consent for the volunteer screening piece of that. If they are not, and I do mention in there that if they want to participate in a face-to-face orientation, that they need to contact the county extension office to find out when the next orientation is going to be held. And then the second paragraph there just talks about the new leader orientation sessions that are online. There ended up being 6 sessions, and they range anywhere from 6 minutes to about 12 minutes each. And they are set up here. It wouldn't really matter what order people would complete them in, although I do suggest that they start with purpose, role, and responsibility. They could jump around after that, although it will make the most sense to do them in this order. But every individual session that has been put together, like the purpose, role, and responsibility, they all have this presentation handout. And what that are the PowerPoint slides. So that if they want to print that out to take notes on, they can do that. And I'll just show you quick what that is because it comes together pretty quick. So this is exactly what the PowerPoint looks like there. And there's 2 slides per page that they can have available to refer back to and take notes on. Let's see, how do I go by there? I go back, okay.
Well, that's this.
Oh, here I'm struggling because it keeps popping down and I can't get to the.
Here's the next page.
I want to go back to the website page.
Oh, okay, it's right here.
Okay, so every session has got those copies of the PowerPoint presentation. After that, there are individual handouts that support or would provide references to the content that is covered there. So you'll see under purpose, role, and responsibility, there are 2 individual flyers. There's the volunteer leader flyer, which talks about all of the policies and the training and the screening, and then there's the 4-H background. Now, when you get down to some of them, they don't all have additional handouts. So like child abuse and bullying here, there's the presentation handout, which is the copies of the slides from the PowerPoint, but then there are no additional handouts there. So on any of those sessions that a volunteer would go to listen to, they could print out the handouts if they wanted to, and then the actual narrated PowerPoint or the narrated contact is all underneath the YouTube video training. And I'm going to click on that so you can see what it looks like. It takes you directly to the YouTube and it automatically starts.
Thank you for completing this orientation to be approved as a 4-H leader in the Wyoming 4-H program. This session will help you recognize signs of child abuse, procedures to follow if you have reasonable cause to suspect abuse, a review of bullying, and suggestions for you to consider so you don't find yourself in questionable situations when you are working with other people's children.
So that's what they look like, and it just goes through the narrated PowerPoint on each one of those like that. The very last slide then tells, I don't think I can, well, maybe I can. Maybe I can get to that. Let me do that quick. I'll see if I can. Because the slides all end the same. And that, of course, is with the thanks for participating, and don't forget, don't forget to go to the State 4-H website to complete the evaluation and set up an appointment with the County 4-H educator. Because if they do the piece online, they still have an obligation to meet with you so that you get to know them and you can kind of go over some of the things that maybe were in the PowerPoint or questions that they might have. That's your opportunity to really get to know them, as well as answer any questions that they might have. Now, each one of the sections has got an evaluation to it. And that evaluation is how you will know that they have completed the online training. So I'm going to pull one of those up here. And they each there's a specific evaluation for each session. So they would put in their name, and I'm going to go ahead and do that so you can see what it would look like. Their counties are populated, so if they're in Hot Springs, it's automatically going to pop up as soon as they say start to type in H, and then the date, they can put in the date. So this is exactly, this is the kind of information that you will get when they hit the submit button, although it comes to the State 4-H office. So they've put in one or more things from that session that they learned, and they've described or what the information will be most helpful in their volunteer role. Then they hit the submit button. And this is the email that will come to the State 4-H office. It redirects them after they've done the evaluation, redirects them right back to the page. So if they want to do one after another, they could very, very easily do that. Now, the evaluation email, as I said, will come to Emily at the State 4-H office here. And it contains all of the information that you just saw on the evaluation piece. So it's the name, the county, the date that it was completed, and those two pieces of information about what they learned and what's going to be most helpful to them. Emily then will forward that to you in the county so that you can go into 4-H online and update their training records, however you are handling that in the county level there. So let me stop there and see if there are any questions. We have to unmute you, so hold on a second. Doesn't look like it's there, does it?
Anybody have any questions? We're checking the chat window too and see nothing in the chat window. If anybody's asking right now, you might have to unmute yourself. We'll see if I can let you do that from here. There, I've unmuted you. Go ahead if you have a question.
Okay, I'm going to leave the unmute on for a minute, so in case you do have questions, because what will happen once all 6, for a volunteer that's completing that training online, once all 6 sessions are done, that is when you would email Emily at the State 4-H office with the name and the email address of the volunteer who has completed all 6 of them, and they have met with you. Then they will receive the invite from the State 4-H office to complete the volunteer screening pieces. Well, hold on a second. If there aren't any questions, I want to show you where, so this is the public site. This is where a volunteer who wants to complete the training online would go. Now, I want to show you where you would go to get the information to do a group orientation. And we have updated the PowerPoint as well as the handouts that are there. And that is available on the State 4-H website or on the Employee Resources website. I might have typed in the wrong password there. Apparently I did. So when somebody gets to the employee resources for staff, you would just scroll down and there, somewhere on here, mine is in a little different place. There should be, oh, that's interesting. Usually on mine, there's a segment over here by 4 volunteers that's all about, oh, here, I just moved it down. This volunteer leader training piece, that's the section that I'm talking about. So this new leader orientation PowerPoint is the most up-to-date version. And then these are the handouts that are referenced in the PowerPoint. So you would want to copy off these handouts and make them available when you are teaching the PowerPoint. One of the pieces, though, that's not on here that we need to get added, and Anne is working on that this afternoon, is the evaluation for the face-to-face group orientations that you conduct. Please make sure that you use that evaluation because it will be really powerful information at some point to be able to compile that statewide and the impact that volunteer training has had for new 4-H leaders. Any questions about the differences between those two sites? The 4-H State 4-H website is where the public would go, new volunteers would go to find the training materials that they need to complete to be approved as a 4-H volunteer leader. On the employee resources site, this one that we're looking at right now, is where you would go to access the PowerPoint and the handouts that go along with the PowerPoint in addition to the evaluation. Oh, sorry.
Kim, let's go check the chat box while they're, so anybody can talk right now. It's open to talk. And while you're doing that, it looks like there is one message in the chat box. Tansy, for those that aren't online, Tansy mentioned, what about the risk management brochure?
Yep, the risk management brochure is being updated now by, it's been approved by risk management, UW risk management, and it's over at C&T being updated with the most current information. So, I don't really have a timeline for that. When it becomes available, we certainly will let you know, and it also will be loaded onto this employee resources site. Okay. Before we go off of this site,
I'm going to go mute you guys again real quick.
It's loud, isn't it? Before we move off of this site, though, there is a couple of other things that I want to show you, and that is with, again, underneath volunteers here, there are 2 sections. There are the documents for volunteers that are listed here, but then there are the employee instructions that are listed down here. So, in particular, I want to talk about the motor vehicle records check, since this is an annual requirement of the University of Wyoming for any volunteer or staff who is driving on university business, that this annual motor vehicle records needs to be checked. Now, one of the things that we have learned over the last couple months is that when a volunteer, they receive the e-invite, and there's 2 parts to that. One is the criminal background information, and then right underneath that is the link to complete the motor vehicle records check. The instructions there, when they go into the motor vehicle records check for a volunteer, is that they are to put either Emily's name now, and Emily's name is written right there in the notify field, but then they were also instructed to include the county 4-H educator's name in the notify field. And the reason we set it up that way was so that you would be able to go, as a county educator, you would be able to go onto the WyoWeb and check if volunteers in your county have completed the motor vehicle records check. And that's particularly important if you are organizing group transportation and you've asked a volunteer to drive a group of 4-H members to an event. Maybe it's within the county, maybe it's outside of the county, but the key is that you have organized that from the county office and have recruited an adult to drive. You would be able to go online and make sure that they are eligible to drive under the UW motor vehicle records check. What we've learned is that for some reason, when volunteers go in to fill out that motor vehicle records check, they've been doing a pretty good job of putting in either Emily's name or my name before Emily had started, but they're not putting in the county 4-H educator name. And so that makes it impossible for you to go on and to double check if they have completed the motor vehicle records check. There are two things that we are doing to alleviate that problem. One is that Emily, when she sends out the e-invite to a volunteer, she is personalizing each e-invite to include the name of the county 4-H educator. Because one of the things we thought about is that maybe the volunteer doesn't know your name, or they can't remember your name and they can't find anything that's got your name written on it. And so it, of course, is just simpler to either put her name in or my name in because it's right there in black and white. So she is including the county educator's name in the e-invite to the volunteer from your county. So that, we are hopeful, will help to alleviate some of the folks that aren't putting the county 4-H educator's name in that notify field. The other thing that we've done is rewritten on the public website, the quick link to motor vehicle records. We have included a chart at the bottom of those instructions for volunteers that list each county educator and the county that they are in. So they will be able to quickly look down there and find the name of the educator in any particular county. So this is where you would go to check the instructions for the motor vehicle records. And this is exactly what you would see when you pull that up. Now, the first bit is for volunteers. So you would see exactly what a volunteer would see. When the second half of this page is where it starts with for security purposes here. This is the piece that, right there, that talks about what a UW employee has to do in order to be able to go online and check the motor vehicle records forms. Because you are located off campus, you must do a two-factor authentication. And Tansy, we need to unmute this because Tansy is going to walk you through that because she has had quite a bit of experience in the two-factor authentication and has
I said between the three of us, we can probably make it work. That most of the time we can be there. So
I'll have to check into it.
Okay, Tansy?
Yes.
All right, thank you.
Tansy, do you need me to let you have access to this here?
Yeah, that would probably be easier. I've never done that before, so
Yeah,
bear with me.
we're taking care of that, Tansy.
Okay.
We just need a second here.
You should have it now, Tansy. Do
we need to minimize
That's all it
that?
is.
Okay, I see here. All right. So now I have to think about how to get in here because I'm working off your computer. Okay. All right. So what
Tansy, hold on. We can share your desktop. Just let us get there.
Okay, that might be easier.
Okay, I have to stop sharing mine. So let me drive for a sec. And then I have to remember how to let you do it.
Here's Tansy, though.
Oh yeah, so Tansy, you're not on, you need to go in now. I'll give you remote control and then you pull up and you need to share your screen, okay?
Okay.
So just a second, let me give you remote control again. I guess I did that backwards.
And Tansy, there will be at the bottom of the screen something that says share screen, and that's where you will do that.
Okay, I see it.
If you already see that, then just take it and go. Click on that and you should be able to click again on your desktop.
Okay.
Did you do that?
Yeah, I have to decide which screen I need to share, but yes.
Oh, okay, sorry, I'm just,
Doing something.
we're all seeing, there you go. It's coming up now, it's starting to load.
Okay.
And it's up.
Okay. So,
We're seeing your Zoom screen.
okay. All right. So can everybody see what is the HRMS website right now?
Yes.
Okay. All right. So for the two-factor authentication, if you have not been set up with that, that's not a hard process. You just email them some information. But essentially what it's going to do is it's an extra layer of security between the UW website and your county or home computer. So what it's going to do is ask that you kind of authenticate that you're the one that's website or this information. And so when I go to like through WYO Secure, that link, and I'm already logged in, so it's not going to let me log in. So what'll happen when I go to the WYO Secure website is it will pop up a screen that will say, let me just log out and I'll show you. That might be easier. Okay. All right. So on WYO Secure, I log in. All right, so now this is where it's going to do that double checking. So you're gonna wanna pick, when you pick which phone it calls, I have it calling my office phone, which is great until I need to access this and I'm not in my office. And then it causes issues. So I would say if you aren't counting your cell phone minutes, then it's probably best to put your cell phone number in there, because then if you're away from your desk or wherever you're at, you can access this information. So I just click log in. And you can hear it rings my phone.
Welcome to Duo. If you were not expecting this call, please press 1 to report fraud. Otherwise, press pound on your phone to log in. Thank you. Goodbye.
So then you just hang up and it'll load everything you need to load on there. It takes it a second.
And you can do this from anywhere in the world, right?
Yes, as long as you can access that phone that it's calling, yes. Okay, so does everyone see my WYO Secure page now?
Yes.
All right, so HRMS is where you go in to manage all employees. And because the way they do volunteers, they're considered employees through this site. So what you do is go to Manage Your Self-Service, click on that, and you're going to go to Job and Personal Information, and then Motor Vehicle Records.
Tansy, hold on just a second. Now, if you are trying to do this from your county office and you don't see Manager Self-Service, you probably have not completed the two-factor authentication. So that has to be done first before you can do anything else. And that's a good tip, that if you don't have Manager Self-Service, that piece has not been done. Thanks, Tansy.
Yep. Okay, so as you can see, you can look back on all of your different years of leaders. So if leaders were putting your name in last year, you might have some leaders in here. When you first pop up the screen, you can see up at the top, this is all the pending transactions. We're a year out, so we don't have any pending. So then we go to completed. All right, so I had 2 people do this last year. So then we're gonna return to the search and look at this year.
That's what it looked like. I don't think.
Okay, so I don't have anyone pending right now, but when I click on the completed ones, these are my leaders that have completed, and then it will say over here that they have passed.
Now, Tansy, would you show people how to search for somebody?
I don't know that I've ever searched for somebody.
Right underneath the submit, okay, hold on, Jonathan's gonna get me back.
Okay.
Or no, we'll just tell you, I can't, it's on your screen.
Okay, so underneath the 2 tabs, pending transaction and completed transaction, there is a completed transaction all the way across. And you will see in that blue bar, no, don't scroll over that way. In the blue bar, it says personalize, find, view all.
Yep.
Right there, click on find. And then if you are wanting to find a particular person, you can type their last name in. So go ahead and put in Wilson. Oh, okay, you got somebody.
What, will it pull it from previous years?
No, only 2015.
Okay.
Because you're in 2015 data.
Okay.
And then click OK. And then it pulls up that the Wilson is what you did. So that's how you can find out if you're looking for one person in particular, especially if you have a lot of people in the list there. You can also go back to return to search. Oh, I think that'll take you back. We'll see. That might okay, so go back into 15 then, Tansy. I'm sorry.
That's okay.
So you can, if you click on last name, that column that says last name, that will alphabetize them. That's another way that you can quickly check to see if people have completed, if you just want to do that very quickly. You can also, any of those, actually, those titles across the top, you can click on, and it will either organize them by last name. If you click on status, it'll bring up, if you have any that are not eligible, it'll show those there. Or the completed on date. That will organize them by date that it was completed. And if you click on it once, it'll do the newest to the oldest. Click on it again, it'll reverse it. So you can see there how to find people. Now, the other piece with this, I just want to remind people that anybody who completes their motor vehicle record check on October 1st or afterward is good for the next year. So anyone who has completed their motor vehicle record check in the fall of 2014 is good through 2015. Any questions from anybody about how to check the motor vehicle records forms? Well, and as I had mentioned, now that Emily is personalizing the e-invites going out to volunteers from your county, they will have your name to be able to quickly put your name in. If they are certain that they have done it, but they can't remember whether or not they put your name in, just give Emily and myself a call. We can go on and check for individuals that would have only listed either one of us in the notify field. Any other tips, Tansy?
No, I don't think so.
Yeah, Dawn has asked a question that does a leader have to complete the motor vehicle records check before you list them before you make them an official leader in 4-H Online. Now, remember, this is a University of Wyoming policy that anybody who is driving on 4-H business, any university business, of which 4-H is university business, it's a requirement that they complete the motor vehicle records check. So it is mandatory for everyone, but our due diligence is in letting them know that they need to do that. So it's not necessary that you go in and check all of the volunteers in your county to make sure that they've done it, because part of the letter that goes out to volunteers that are in not in their rescreening year, so those second, third, fourth year volunteers, it says in that letter that goes to them, remember that you need to go online and update your motor vehicle records check. That's what we need to do, is make sure that they know they have to go on, or we're asking them to go on and complete that. Now, this is, though, where I'm suggesting very much that if you are organizing an activity that's going to require a driver and you have recruited an adult to drive, that you go on and make sure that they have completed the motor vehicle records check. We do not need to monitor that for everyone who's just driving to a 4-H club meeting. But if you are organizing an event or transportation for members from your county, it's in your best interest to make sure you check and make sure that that's done. Does that answer your question? And then there's a question there from Missy, send a new county list for.
You wouldn't know who's on her list or not, so.
Yeah. Missy, we'll have to talk about that.
Kim, can you hear us? Or are we all?
Yes, I can hear you.
So, but that only shows up if they've marked us as a notify. So if they didn't put me or us or Emily, then how do we know?
Well, because if you know if you know a particular individual that you have a question about, email the name of that person to Emily and myself. Because People who have listed just Emily, I don't have access to. People who have listed just myself, Emily doesn't have access to. That's why it's important to email the specific name to both of us.
Okay.
And then we can follow up and let you know.
Okay.
Do you guys want to go back to your screen now?
Jonathan's typing a in the chat.
Is that-
Hold on a second.
I think there's a message in chat from Dawn.
Yeah, I just responded with, in this instance, the only big deal would be they shouldn't be ones that you're allowing to drive to, let's say they're hauling kids to Showcase Showdown. If you recruited them to drive kids to Showcase Showdown, then it is a big deal. You shouldn't allow them to drive if they refuse to do it. They can't drive because you've allowed them and recruited them to do so. They can drive their own kids,
Yeah.
but they couldn't drive other kids as if you organized it for those families, for those kids. But if they're just driving kids back and forth for their own clubs, on their own value, and you didn't arrange anything, that's totally between them and the families that drove. But you have to do your due diligence by letting everybody know it's a requirement of the university. So you're right, Kim, yeah.
That also answers Don's next question about them driving kids within their own clubs. That's why I say it's critical that the thing that you need to consider is if you are organizing the transportation as an official representative from the county extension office, then they need to have done that. You need to make sure they have done that.
Anybody? I don't see any more in the chat, so I don't know if what you wanted, Amber. We'll turn it back to you, I guess.
I have another question. Does it matter if, like, for instance, this weekend State Leaders Conference, if they're not driving kids, but they're on 4-H business, they still need to complete that?
Yes. Anytime they are driving on 4-H business and any 4-H activity, whether it is a county event or whether it's a district event or a state event or a national event, if you have recruited people to drive and you have organized it at the county office, make sure the people that are driving have done MVR. And that's true whether it's a personal vehicle, whether they're driving a county vehicle, or whether they're driving a university vehicle. Other questions? How to get back to the chat.
They're not chatting, they're typing somewhere
okay.
else.
Any
Back
questions?
to the videos.
Yes,
They have to watch all 6 of, you said there were 6, right?
that's correct.
They have to watch all 6 of them before it can be considered trained, and then they come and can get their email to do their screening, correct?
That is correct. Because that would be the equivalent of coming to participate in a face-to-face meeting.
Okay.
Missy posted a question that says, can fully screened volunteers drive UW vehicles? The answer is yes, if they've also passed the motor vehicle. So if that's what you mean by fully screened, yes. We send volunteers driving university vehicles a lot. State 4-H shooting sports trainings, different events, even out-of-state trips.
Now, I do want to clarify though, because she says here specific UW vehicles. If you've got access to county vehicles, check your county policy because they may or may not allow volunteers that are not county employees. So don't assume that one equals the other. Check with your county policy on county vehicles.
Got a chat here message from Kenzie Krinke, and then one message from Mary Louise about Kim Bell. So here's Kenzie's.
Okay. Kinsey is asking about the online training. If you receive emails starting which sections, for each individual section, you will get an email. And what will happen is we'll just forward the evaluation onto you so that you can see what they learned in that particular session. So for every individual, if they have completed all 6 sessions online, you will get 6 emails forwarded to you, 1 for each session.
And then the question from Kim Bell, maybe I'll take this one.
Sure.
Is that, the question from Kim Bell was, what if we use the school buses and their drivers? Does it still need to be done? The answer would be no, because you're contracting in essence with them. If you're contracting with a school to pay for buses, gas, fuel, drivers, that's a contract, so it has nothing to do with, they're not serving as volunteers for 4-H.
And back to Kinsey's question. Sorry, do you want me to type in or can I ask? Nobody else is.
No, that's fine, Amber. We can hear you.
So that when they do that evaluation, we only get those if they go do that evaluation. So if they don't go do that evaluation on that separate site, do we not get that?
That is correct.
So if they don't do the evaluation, we don't have any proof that they completed that.
That is correct.
So we need to make sure they cover that.
And every slide at the end of that session says that. Go to the State 4-H website page and complete the evaluation. Then we can update your official record. So they're reminded every time they get to that very last slide on any one of those sessions, it says the same thing. What else can we answer for you this afternoon? You know, and if you want to test it, just go to the State 4-H website and just watch one of those and see what it's, pick one of the shorter ones, like volunteer precautions is one of the, like 6 minutes or so. The longest one's only 12, so it's not a huge time commitment. And just see how that works, and then you'll be able to see what the last slide says, and then you can go to, if you want to, you could even go to the website, fill it out, fill out the evaluation. It'll be, an email will come to us, we'll forward it to you, and you can see exactly what it looks like, exactly how the process works. Okay, Amber, I guess if there are no other questions this afternoon, please, if you are working on things and you have some questions, don't hesitate to give us a call here at the State 4-H office. We're happy to answer those for you and help you think through that.
Amber, I'm going to stop recording right now, but I'm not hanging up in case you have more to cover.